So here we go. Probably going to be the most controversial video on the Blue Sea channel yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rank the performance of almost every single Rangers player from the start of the season up until this point. And what I want you lot to do is light up the comments section with what you agree with, what you disagree with. I dare say there's going to be a lot of stuff you disagree with in this video, but go for it. Leave us a like, leave a comment, let us know your opinion. I am buzzing to see it. Let's just get into this. So first up, we've got Jack Butland, and to be honest, this will probably be the only player to get into that category so far this season. I think his performances have been great. I think it's quite clear that he's been brought up through the Premier League. He's a Premier League class keeper, and I think if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for some of the saves he's been pulling off, I think we'd be in a much worse position than we are now. So for now, I'm going to put Jack Butland in the class category. Second up, and it's probably one of the most polarising figures in the Rangers team, it's James Tavernier. My opinion on James Tavernier is it's hard to deny his numbers, even though there's a mistake in him and a lot of people don't know if he should be captain or if he shouldn't be captain. It's always going to be polarising when it comes to James Tavernier. My opinion is I think he's been decent. I think he's been alright. I think the shot against Ross County, his goal against Ross County was a stunner, and I think his numbers are again almost saving him from criticism. But again, James Tavernier could play a blinder. There's always going to be criticism. That's never going to stop. I think James Tavernier so far this season, I'd put him in the decent category. Next up is Connor Goldson, and it's pretty much similar to Tavernier. I mean, him and Tavernier are probably within a small group of players that a lot of people on Twitter are considering to be serial losers, or have a loser's mentality. My opinion is, yes, they've been there probably through more tough times than good times, but I think when Goldson isn't in that defence, or he's missing for that defence, I think that defence lacks a bit of leadership. Now that could be because Goldson in previous seasons up until the Suter edition hasn't really had a solid partnership within the team. You know, it's always been chopping and changing, Hollander, Davies, you know, any other previous defender in the past, but when he's come on, I think that defence does look better. So for now, I'm going to also put him alongside James Tavernier in the decent category. John Suter, I think he's brilliant. I think he's good at especially coming in at that front post. He's mopping up balls, mopping up crosses. He's a good aerial threat. He's a solid defender. He likes carrying the ball at his feet, which I think we need if we want to play a bit more direct. I think it's hard, especially with the defenders. We're a common theme among defenders that I just think tactically we've exposed our back line a wee bit too much. You know, the full-backs have been left up far too far up the pitch. We're turning over possession and we're leaving the likes of Suter and Goldson completely exposed, which in any team, regardless how good a defender you are, being exposed like that is always going to cause mistakes. And don't be wrong, Suter has had mistakes, but I think again he's been one of the better players in the team regardless of the mistakes in previous games. So for now, I'm also going to stick him in the decent category. Now for a big one, it's Borna Barisic. Borna Barisic is... it's just a weird way to kind of come to the end of a Rangers career. I mean, in the past he's always been one of the most heavily criticised players in the team, because obviously I don't think he's got that much bravery about him that you'd probably expect from a Rangers player. I think he pulls out a lot of tackles too much. He gives players way too much space to put balls into the box. I think we've seen that against PSV as well. There was a lot of space for those attacking front three when they kind of rotated or they drove at Barisic. He was giving them far too much space, far too many crosses into the box were happening. Look, De Jong was getting on far too much because, well, De Jong's a good player, he's got good movement in the box. It's really hard to keep track of him in there, as we found it hard to keep track of him. But I think a lot of that stemmed from Borna Barisic, and also it's just a weird situation how against PSV he went down injured. Obviously didn't play against Celtic, but then immediately got cleared for international duty straight after that, which I thought was a bit weird. To me, it looks like he's on his way out, and he's the first player today that I'm going to stick in that poor category. Next up, Sterling. Sterling's a player I think has looked pretty decent so far. He got a try out at left back against Celtic. I thought he was one of the few players in the team that got some pass marks. Again, I think defensively he's a lot better than Barisic, but again we need to remember that him covering Barisic would be him playing out of position. It would be good to see him play in his position, which was right back, but I can't see Tavernier, regardless of his performances, getting dropped. Obviously he's the captain, it's probably the hardest position to come in and provide a challenge to. So, I mean, he looks comfortable on the ball. I think defensively he's better than Barisic. Pace-wise he's better than Barisic. Again, it's going to be tough to see him in his full flow attacking game because of how we're playing tactically, but I think he is a pretty decent player, and for that reason I'm going to put him into the decent category. Now Cifuentes, this one I'm probably going to stick my neck out for. I think Cifuentes kind of got lost in the Celtic game. I think that it really kind of shocked him a wee bit. He looked nervous, he looked unsure of the way he was playing. I think it's going to be the case when you come over from the MLS to a more hostile atmosphere, if that's what you want to call it. But I think again against PSV and Celtic, I think the magnitude of the game made him go into his shell a wee bit. But to be honest, in the previous games I've saw him, I can definitely see a big player in there for us this season. I think the thing I like most about him is the balls into the box. When he drifts out wide, some of the balls into the box that he plays, they're right in the money. They're either picking someone out or they're right in that danger area. We're just missing that cutting edge in the box, that gamble to finish the chances. And to be honest, I can only look at it from Cifuentes' performances point of view. I think all in all he's been pretty good. I think again a lot of fans would probably have a much higher thought of him if those chances were finished and gambled on, but to be honest, in my opinion, that's not really his fault. So for that reason, I'm going to stick my neck out. So he's going to be a big player for us this season once he gets used to the atmosphere, gets used to the hostility, and I'm going to put him in the good category because I like him. Ryan Jack's a bit of a tough one because he kind of drifts in and out. Obviously Lundstrom's played a couple of times and he's got his criticisms as well, but to be honest, I think Jack probably provides good balance in the midfield three that I would like to see. I think if you've got the likes of maybe Jack, Raskin, Cifuentes, play Raskin in the middle, I like the look of that midfield. I think it's got good balance, having Cantwell played in front of that three as well. I just think he works well in that specific midfield three, although I feel like a lot of the times, again, down to how we're playing tactically, his games had to be more focused on providing cover for the fullbacks. Same with the other midfielders as well. He sat deep a lot of the time, drifted back with the full team. I didn't really see any leadership from him to get the team or the midfield pushed up the pitch. But to be honest, again, that can't really be down to the player. That's more of just how we've played tactically that kind of puts a negative light onto the way Jack plays. And I think it would be unfair to put him anywhere higher or lower than the decent category because he's just been decent. Kieran Dowell, I don't know what it is, but I haven't really seen anything special from him so far. I mean, he's come on, he's been alright, but he's kind of drifted out the team a wee bit, and I think that, not that when he came up, a lot of fans expected him to, light the position on fire, but I just don't think he's got enough in him at this stage to disrupt that Jack, Cifuentes, Raskin midfield three. And I think that when he has come on, he's scored, he's played alright in some games, but my feeling on him is that he's not really managed to break into that team and make a statement. You've not really seen much of him, and a couple of these performances I haven't really seen anything spectacular. I think he's been pretty average to mediocre, and I still expect a lot more for players coming into this team who want to make a mark in the team, especially when the team's in the form that they're in just now. You'd expect players like Dow to try and come in, put a stamp in his team, and I don't think he has. For that reason, I'm going to have to put him in the poor category. Lundstrom, he's been dabbling in about the team, but the main reason for that is he's never really hit the heights of that European run that we had. Obviously, that European run, he was exceptional, he's a key part of the team, but ever since then, he's quickly fallen out of favour with the fans, because the performances he's put in, it slowed the game down a lot of the time. A lot of the time we want to play through that holding midfielder and have that quick recycling the ball. That's what Kamara was good at, regardless of what you think his performances. He was good at getting the ball, recycling the ball, getting it out wide, playing a pass. He was always kind of quick, receive the ball, pass. And I think that when John Lundstrom's got the ball, I think he's really started to slow the game down a wee bit. And again, I think when Cantwell comes in and joins him with the energy that Cantwell's got, I think he's struggled to kind of keep up with that. And for that reason, I'm going to have to put Lundstrom where a lot of fans would put him right now, and that's in the poor category. Raskin has been probably, if you look at the end of last season, one of the players we're most excited about. It was going to be between him and Cantwell. He showed a lot of promise. He's made a statement saying that, you know, when he signed, he wants to treat the club like a stepping stone. His ambitions are with the Premier League. And I'm fine with that, to be honest. If you want to use Rangers as a stepping stone, like, good, because that suits our player trading model, and it also shows ambition to play well in the squad and give 100% in order to move down south, because that's the requirements of moving down south. So, I mean, he's played okay this season, and again, it's been tough to really pinpoint individual performances, because collectively now and tactically, I think we're way off. We're sitting off teams far too much, and it's hampering a lot of the progress and a lot of the performances of players within it. And I think one of the players within the team that's took a wee bit of a downturn in form, and he's started to be more quiet and, you know, maybe struggled a wee bit more, is Raskin, but I still think he is one of our best players, so I'm going to put him in the decent category. Todd Cantwell, he is one of our best players. I think it's hard to look at a team sheet without him and be confident, to be honest. He's been one of our main playmakers. I think his confidence, his flair, his energy, his drive, it's always been a kind of light at the end of the tunnel, even any poor performance. I think he's been pretty good in every single game, maybe a wee bit quieter in the Old Firm, but I like his energy. I like the demands he puts on himself, and I like that on the pitch he's one of those players. You know, if he puts in a tackle, a player goes down. If a player tackles him, he likes to give them a wee bit. I think that's something we've been missing over the past few years, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, a lot of Rangers fans would agree with me, that Cantwell was probably one of our best outfield players, if not the best outfield player we've got right now. And for that reason, he's got to go up there with Butland in the class category. Okay, so we'll move on to Sima, who is probably one of a very poor front three so far this season. I think Sima would, the front three, Danilo, Sima and Lammers, I think he's probably been one of the better performers. He's been able to hold the ball up a lot easier. Obviously his strike against PSV in the first leg was absolutely beautiful, gave us a little taste of what he is capable of. However, I feel like a few times it's kind of frustrating watching him get caught with the ball under his feet. His touch has been meh, his ball control's been a bit poor. I mean, to be honest, I could probably copy and paste that for the full, front three. Also Dessers, Danilo. It's been pretty poor going forward. I could probably club the front three together under one and just stick them in a category. But, I do believe there's a player in there with Sima. I do believe there's a finisher in there with Sima. We saw it against PSV. But to be honest, I can't really say anything other than it's been pretty poor so far. We haven't really seen anything other than that goal against PSV. to say otherwise. So for now, he's going in the poor category, even though throughout the season I think he's going to start working himself up. Now on to Danilo. God knows what's going on with Danilo. He doesn't seem to be getting himself a start. We've paid a ridiculous amount of money for him. He's one of those players that when we saw the transfer fee, we kind of thought, alright, he's going to be probably one of our biggest players of the season. There's a reason we paid that money for him, so he's got to come in and he's a player that's going to get us the goals. He's going to be one of those players that's going to stand out throughout the season, but we just haven't seen that in the slightest. For whatever reason, whether it's in training, obviously we know he's not got an injury, we don't know if it's fitness wise or if he's getting up to speed or if he's struggling, but he's just not seen himself getting into the team. And when he has played in the team, I think the game's been played round about him a lot of the time. There's a couple of wee flashes of brilliance in there. We know there's a player in Danilo. I can't understand how we're not getting the best out of him. Never mind not getting the best out of him, but I can't understand why we're not even trying to start him or give him a run of games. There must be something going on at training where Michael Beale thinks that he's not worth the start yet. So for that reason, I can't put him in any other category right now than poor. Now, to kind of go back on the upturn, we've got Rabbi Matondo. I think Rabbi Matondo is kind of, after a few years, he's finally started to find his game, find the way he wants to play, started to find his confidence. He must have been performing quite well in training, but when he's come on the pitch, he's completely changed games. I think he's got that thing that we were missing, that driving at opposition, that confidence, that flair, that quick feet, that pace that we were missing from Ryan Kent. And I think, again, if Matondo keeps on his grind and keeps his performances going and keeps being confident, I think that he's got to be a main starter in the team. Obviously the game kind of went past him against Celtic, but it will do because he was getting that out ball. Even though he was out wide, he never had any out ball because I think everybody else in the team were a bit flat-footed. We still had players far too deep in the pitch for Matondo to have any out ball and make an impact, or there was no link-up play for him. To be honest, I can't really say anything other than he's been pretty good. Now, Lammers, again, I could probably copy and paste the same frustrations with the other forward players we've brought in. Again, another player that we kind of brought in, we were expecting a big impact, but it's just not happened. At the start of the season, he was getting a few he was getting a few starts, but he kind of fell away for the team. I can see him starting to fall away a wee bit and reassess his game. When he's come on again, he's probably been the most effective, out of the front three other than Sima, obviously scoring. But I mean, he's looked okay, but it's hard to say when you're blinded by the expectation you had at the start of the season. So to be honest, I can't really see myself putting anyone in that front three or any of the new signings any higher than poor, because it has been poor and it's not clicked yet. So yeah, I'll put him in poor. Dessers, my opinion, probably one of the most frustrating ones out of that front three I was talking about. Again, I think his first touches haven't been amazing. He's really struggled with strength and holding the ball up in this league. Again, another one, I've no doubt there's a player in there, because obviously I'm pretty sure he was one of the players that Michael Beale went out and actually met. He was a player that Michael Beale really wanted and we chased for a wee while. So I just don't really understand at this point why he chased him the way he did, because I don't think his performances have been great at all, to be honest. It's been massively frustrating watching him. Obviously there's a lot of chances missed, the same as Lammers, the same as Sima. There's been a lot of clear-cut chances missed and we can't really forgive that. I've got to put him alongside the other two in poor. And let's move on to a much more positive note in Kemar Roofe. Now, Kemar Roofe is easily, and no one will disagree with me, easily right now the best striker we've got at the club. His experience, his performance level, his intelligence level, his movement is all what a striker at Rangers should be. And obviously when he's come on the pitch, he's just looked much more confident, he's looked much more tactically intelligent than the other players. Obviously he's been here at the club for a lot longer. He knows what it's about. Obviously his injury is going to be a bit of a setback. Can we keep him fit for the rest of the season? I don't know. I really do hope we can, because we need him at this stage of the season when the other forward players aren't really firing on all cylinders, and obviously when these newer players provide a real challenge to him, it's going to be a wee bit more of a headache. But for right now, he's easily the best striker we've got at the club, so I'm going to put him in the good category. Now, you're probably looking at that shocker section and going, Andy, why is that empty? There's not even any point having a shocker section. Well, I'm going to justify that for you right now. The one person I think belongs in that shocker category is obvious. Everyone's going to agree with me. It's Michael Beale. The reason for that is, I think tactically we've been way off it. I think, again, the list is endless, but we're going for like wacky substitutions to, sitting off an out of form Celtic kind of half reserve team, and for me that was completely unforgivable. I think a lot of times we're going out onto that pitch, and instead of having our own identity and our own way of playing, we're going out to try and counter other teams' strengths. It's a very cautious and safe play style, and it's something that I just don't agree with when you're in that top two in the Scottish Premiership, that Celtic Rangers. You need to have your identity, you need to have your way of playing, and you need to enforce that in the rest of the league and on each other, and you need to enforce that in Europe as well. It's the only way we're going to have success, and I just do not believe that right now Michael Beale even knows his best 11. God knows how he's going to find a tactical identity and a play style until that happens, but I think everybody watching this would be in agreement that they want Beale to leave. I can only at this point agree, because what's happened so far, the performances against PSV, the performance against Celtic, probably one of the biggest weeks, the biggest tests he's had this season, and both of the times he's failed, and failed spectacularly. For me, it's completely unforgivable. I can't personally see him turning it around. There's still debate whether or not he's going to leave during this international window. God knows what's happening. I've seen rumours of him being backed. I've seen rumours of him already have left. We knew this international break was going to be carnage rumour-wise, and I don't know what more to say about Michael Beale, to be honest. Here's hoping one of two things: either we can get a new manager in that's got his own tactical identity, his play style, a bit more experience, because I'm not really a big fan of these project managers anymore. I think we just need to get the experience in now and put a stamp on the team. The thing is, what is this new manager going to do in September after the transfer market shuts with those players that are signed to play such a narrow style of football? That's going to be tough. And if it's the other way around and Michael Beale stays, I hope if he stays he's going to be able to turn it around, but only time will tell. So what I need for you now is to jump into that comments, and that obviously you're going to completely disagree with most of the points that I've said and where I've put players. You're going to be like, I can't believe you put such and such in front of such and such, or this person below this person. That's what football's all about. It's an opinion, and I'd love to hear your opinion. So drop us a like, remember and subscribe, leave your opinion in the comments. I'll see you in the comments. I hope it's absolute carnage. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.